back to KTAT for you. It's not spring yet, but with the warmer weather we're having, rattlesnakes are slowly popping up, which could put your pets in danger. So the Windmill Animal Hospital wants to make sure you know how to protect them during the season. And here to talk about vaccination is Dr. Price from the Windmill Animal Hospital. Dr. Price, how are you doing today?
Doing great.
Thanks
Glad
for
to be
coming
here.
on. We appreciate it. And so it is typically a little bit warmer in February than it has been in years past. So what are good tips for, dog or cat owners? How do they keep rattlesnakes away so they don't come around the house if they like their dog or cat to be an outdoor pet?
Well, we're in rattlesnake country. We have the western diamondback. They're not an aggressive snake, so they won't chase you like a water moccasin will, but they're out there, and they're always where you least expect them, and usually at an inconvenient time. Midnight, middle of the night, and on weekends seems to be a popular time. And they typically start coming out of their dens in late March and early April. So we try to get dogs vaccinated in March each year so that their antibodies are fresh in their bloodstream for if they get hit.
Okay.
Because it is amazing what a difference it makes if a dog gets struck by a rattlesnake if he's been vaccinated in advance.
All right. What does that typically mean, I guess, for vaccinations? How many shots and how often do they have to
A dog
come
that
back?
hasn't been vaccinated before will need 2 shots spaced 3 to 4 weeks apart.
Okay.
And if it's a low risk exposure dog, meaning a dog that lives in town, that's not a hog dog or a working bird dog, then once a year is considered adequate. And we like to time it in March, right before the rattlesnakes emerge. Now dogs that are high risk, like hog dogs and working bird dogs, working cattle dogs, they're out there with the snakes all the time. So we recommend to consider twice a year for those dogs.
I see. Now, explain the difference to people, if they do get their dog vaccinated and they do get bit, what happens to them versus a dog that has never been vaccinated and also
That's a great question. Let's take the dog that's never been vaccinated. Typically, if he gets struck by a rattler, it's on his nose because he's sticking his nose like, ooh, what's that? Or he gets hit on his paw because he's like, let me play with that.
Right.
Well, the area that gets hit, depending on how much venom that the snake releases, because remember, diamondbacks can control how much venom is injected when they bite.
Oh, all right.
And so if it's a true envenomation and not what we call a dry strike, the area will swell dramatically. Like, for example, think of a Labrador, and the Labrador's nose is about this big around. It'll swell up like a soccer ball.
Ooh.
And they can go into shock. The swelling can be so bad they can literally lose their ability to breathe. It's called asphyxiation. And, okay, so we get them through the initial emergency, the initial crisis. Well, all that swelling and all that venom causes a lot of the skin to die, and that's called a skin slough. So you're left with 12, 14, 16, 18 square inches of exposed tissue because the skin fell off. Now, the dog that's been vaccinated and gets an equivalent strike, he'll have some swelling. He'll be very painful. Rattlesnake strikes are always painful. But I've only known of one dog that died from rattlesnake strike that was vaccinated.
Oh, wow.
Whereas we have had numerous reports of dogs who died from a rattlesnake strike before they could be brought in for care that were unvaccinated.
I see.
It just, it
buys
time. It buys time so we can save the dog's life.
Okay.
Well worth it.
I'm sure it is. Dr. Price, I want to thank you for coming on and sharing that with us today. So if you have questions or concerns, you can always visit Dr. Price at her animal hospital or just give her a call. All the information you need is on your screen.